do a little repair. They actually could take this fleet here because in the numbers, there's at least a sphere and 2 scout cubes to the sphere and 2 probes. They would have had that fairly easy if they could have taken out some ships with minimal losses. The Susas plus the adapters make great counters for the sphere. And you can see in the chat, though, that Boggz has already pulled out a second sphere. That is going to give this force a lot more staying power. You can see that Stardust moving his Klingon fleet back down, looking again to go attack the backdoor economy, and trying to do a... actually, he's turning around now. So if a well-placed sensor ping would do a wonderful job against this Klingon fleet, but that's sort of the thing. You don't know where to, with a cloaked adversary, you don't exactly know where they are. Occasionally it is good to ping around your fleet, as you'll probably pick up a scout follow, a cloaked follower, and here we see that Stardust is moving into the expansion again, and there being a little bit of a battle coming in somewhere. So here comes the main bottom team fleet moving into the Klingons expansion. Really going to be able to take any sort of hit with these 2 spheres against all of these Susas. Nonetheless, it's actually just smart for these guys to get out of there. However, they're going to get... they are going to end up getting a little bit outgunned here because the Borg are moving in, outmaneuvering them. You can see down here that Stardust has successfully raided the crap out of the expansion down here, taking out all of the Tritanium, which is an odd bit. I would have expected him to go for the lithium. Nonetheless, the bottom team actually doing a good job of not engaging the larger fleet, which would actually hurt them the most, as they are the ones hurting on the minerals at the moment. And Stardust making quick work of the ships here. And really what probably needs to happen is just to throw up maybe a Borg turn or 2 around here just to defend this, as his fleet is not large enough and is finding itself out of position. Again, with scouting, the top team is very well aware where the bottom team's army is. So you can see here that Xerjel is putting in a scout in the general area, but that is going to end up not being sufficient, as we can see that the Klingon fleet is actually moving in on the bottom team's Boggz' expansion. And wow, there goes a sensor probe. However, the Klingon fleet are decloaking, so not going to be any disadvantage to them. Maybe just a couple seconds off their surprise attack. And the Klingon fleet might actually get into range of the starbase and get pincered in by the bottom team's fleet. Question here, the Klingon is going to get a couple of kills off of this. Oh, maybe not even. Wow, so here comes the Lavals coming in. There goes Cubedge. You can see that the starbase, the Borg starbase, getting upgraded. Klingons trying to cloak, not a good move, as the detectors, these probes, are able to ping them, and that is going to damage a lot of their ships, and they're going to get a couple of kills off of this if they can just get in there and get those phaser shots and torpedo shots off. This Klingon fleet really in a bad position, trying to get out of there. Really trying to go around the map. They're small ships, fast, but they're just not going to be able to outrun these probes, and they're getting stuck on a little bit of the cornering. You can see on the minimap, however, that the Bigmac's Borg fleet is moving down into the base. The Klingons losing a lot of their main force here. actually, that's not their main force, but losing their secondary fleet. And what ends up trying to be a little bit of raid into the board base by the top team ends up being a big mistake for them. They get no kills out of it, and the bottom team able to successfully get a number of kills off that Klingon fleet, which really helped bring the balance back in their power. You can see that the Borg trying to build up their supplies and get a little bit of their incubation centers up. That's actually going to hurt Boggz for a little while, as supplies take a little bit of time. And it looks like supply trouble is all around, as Stardust asking a little bit of for supplies, and the Klingons, as they are heavily dependent on offense for their supplies. It looks like a little bit of resource deadlock by everyone. So we can see actually a couple frigate refits out. This is going to be good against the small Klingon ships. However, they're a tad bit expensive. So it'll be interesting to see how well he can fund these, as these are going to take a bigger hit on, take a bigger bite out of his resources. And you can see down here that Xerjel has not quite recouped his loss down in the expansion mining. And here we see that Xerjel actually putting together a decent sized fleet compared to some of the other vessels on the field. Actually would be able to take out a couple of these. This would be a good raid for Xerjel right now if he could pop in, take out a couple of these ships, and these pair of ships defending would not do much of a job at all, even if a couple of them came back. So anytime, and here goes. Oh, and there went a ping. It just depends on who the ping is of. So you can see that the Klingons are decloaking, and that's actually a bad job for the Klingons, as they are going to end up losing out some offensive ships. And that's actually, if they can get that Cavort out of there, they'll be lucky. Alright, now the Romulans do need to disengage. They've made some successful attacks here. They really don't want to deal with these Cavorts. However, they are... Wow, okay. So here comes the Susas, and this is where the Romulans need to get out of here. Just the number of Susas is going to destroy this fleet. And you can see that they are fast, and their rate of fire is extremely fast, and despite their miss rate, they are just taking down the shields when they hit. So, wow, a very nice counter by Stardust, and this is actually a great anti-Borg fleet too. And you can see that Boggz moving in on the Borg, and the Borg fielding a number of adapters. These are cheaper than spheres and supposedly a good counter to them. However, I don't really think the numbers are there. There's a 5-to-3 adapter to spheres, and these spheres are going to be able to move in. The problem here is these are all regen spheres, and the middle is so you can see that the Borg not wanting to engage, actually having to draw back a little bit of their dilithium mining to deal with that. We can see a number of incubation centers up here, so the Borg at the top making inroads in on their supply deficit. So the Klingons actually dealing with a decent sized fleet here. The question is, what are they going to do with it? They've got a number of very small ships, and Boggz fielding a decent middle game fleet here of 3 regen spheres. The question is, what is next on his build queue? And it looks like he's trying to get his tech up, as you can see that Bigmac actually already has, and researching the sensor relay, allowing them to deal with the cloak adversary of the Romulans. However, the Klingons looking to make another base raid into Xerjel's main. This is going to be potentially a devastating attack. There's a good roughly 15 to 20 vessels here, and here to just these 6 vessels here,